All right, man, peace. So, brothers, for those of us who follow the NBA, especially in recent history, we know the importance that Dwyane Wade has played in the ascension of Mr. LeBron James. If it was not for Dwyane Wade opening his arms and welcoming LeBron into the Miami Heat franchise, who knows, LeBron's career may have had a completely different arc. He may never have a championship because had he been forced to stay in Cleveland, they would never have been able to draft a Kyrie Irving or another player who could have assisted him. And we all know that nobody was going to go play with him in Cleveland. So Mr. Stephen A. Smith has taken it a step further. He's asserted that LeBron James should understand that he owes a couple of his championships to Dwyane Wade. So they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
In their final game against each other, LeBron James forced D-Wade into an off-balance three-pointer on the final possession to secure a Laker win. The Banana Boat Boys 2 championships and reached 4 consecutive NBA Finals with the Heat. Here's Wade and King James after the game.
Whether we was teammates, whether we was opponents, we brought the best out of each other. And I'm just thankful that I had the opportunity to be able to be drafted at the same time as this guy. And the friendship that we have, you guys know that's beyond basketball.
Yes, the friendship that you have is beyond basketball, because you're shrewd enough to understand that you better make sure that you maintain this rapport with LeBron as long as you can, because he's only going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger with the liberal media and a lot of these Marxist sponsors behind him.
But I'm going to miss this.
To accomplish what I really wanted to accomplish in this league, and that's winning at the highest level I needed. And him to open up that franchise, him to open up that city for me and my family. And when he's been there, when he's the staple, I mean, it's Wade County. And what we accomplished, I give so much to him for him just being, it just shows the type of guy he is.
I agree. It's very clear that Dwyane Wade has a great deal of generosity in his heart, at least when it comes to Mr. LeBron James.
Stephen A., it's hard to believe it's his 16th season.
Yeah.
What impact did Wade have on LeBron? Because
Dwyane Wade had a great impact not only on LeBron James, but also on the NBA. He was the player who carried on a lot of the Michael Jordan paradigm well into the 2000s. And as a matter of fact, in 2006, he probably had the most dominant finals series in modern NBA history aside from Michael Jordan. When we consider that, for all intents and purposes, the quote-unquote modern NBA is assumed to have started in 1979 when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were drafted, and we look over the list of the greatest shooting guards to have come into the NBA since then. Of course, Clyde Drexler, Michael Jordan, Mitch Richmond, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, Dwyane Wade. And we consider who had the most dominant impact in a particular playoff series in the finals. It's going to be Michael Jordan, and it's going to be Dwyane Wade.
he's a few years older.
LeBron is a champion because of Dwyane Wade. It's really that simple. That's how you put this. You're listening to somebody right now that's been covering them their entire career. Mm-hmm. And Dwyane Wade, it doesn't get much better than him as a person in terms of the professional athletes that you interview, the class that they show, the way that they conduct themselves, particularly with the media, their contemporaries within the league, etc., etc. He's one of the best ever in that regard. But I think, Will, to put it in its proper perspective, people forget what LeBron was going through prior to arriving to Miami.
That's why I state that it was mutually convenient. They both needed one another. And in addition to that, because they had the background of friendship, it was a perfect match. The only one who missed out was that nincompoop Carmelo Anthony.
He was being betrayed internally, teammates and people talking behind his back.
When Stephen A. Smith states that LeBron James was being betrayed internally, he's referencing the affair that Delonte West was having with LeBron James' mother, and nobody told LeBron about it. That's why LeBron was so upset.
Treating him, his crew, family members with less than the respect that they warranted and they deserved, if for no other reason based on their association with him alone, talking behind his back constantly. He did not feel like he was a part of a team. He did not feel like he was a part of a brotherhood. He did not feel like he was a part of a family. And when you take that into consideration and you combine that with the fact that in terms from a biological perspective, in terms of the fatherhood figure, that wasn't really there. The odds were stacked against him, which is what he alludes to when he brings stuff like that up from time to time. So here comes D. Wade, a guy that's been your friend, that you came into the league with, that you got to know from the time that you were drafted together. And what happens? D-Wade brings you on board. He takes less, convinces you to take a little bit less, of course, and Bosh as well. Y'all go to 4 straight finals. You win 2 consecutive championships. When stuff collapsed and you didn't win the championship the first year go round against Dallas, D-Wade takes a step back because at that time he was at the height of his career, and you could have...
Well, not quite. I would say that D-Wade was at the end of the height of his career. But if you want to say that he was still at the height, you can say that. But the best of Dwyane Wade was from about 04, 05 to about 2009, 2010, maybe stretching into 2011.
Made a legitimate argument they could have butted heads as to who's the guy, because D-Wade was always a closer. He was always somebody that you could give the ball to in the clutch.
Well, that was the point of LeBron James going there. Because around 2009, 2010, when many of the members of the media and also NBA viewers and fans, aficionados, etc., started to pay more attention to Skip Bayless's theories pertaining to the quote-unquote clutch gene and his assertion that LeBron James did not have it, that actually started to permeate into the subconscious of LeBron James. And he pretty much has admitted that. And there was about a 3.5-year stretch, where a player who had pretty much been clutch in the earlier part of his career, because LeBron James was a very clutch player in the earlier part of his career, he allowed many of Skip Bayless's diatribes to hurt him. So when he went to Miami, Dwyane Wade acted as a confidant, as a psychiatrist, as a healer for him, and also was so talented himself that he could carry the load of a quote-unquote closer until LeBron James's confidence was built back up.
LeBron was working on that. He was elevating himself to that point, but he just wasn't there. And when they lost to Dallas, it was D-Wade that went to him. It was D-Wade that had that conversation. It was D-Wade that let him know, I don't give a damn how good I am. I'm not you. You're the greatest in the world. I'm going.
Well, D-Wade is very, very good at that. Recently, The Jump showed an interview that Rachel Nichols had with LeBron James and D-Wade, and they started to actually argue for a half second over who was the peanut butter and who was the jelly in their relationship. And LeBron originally wanted to be the jelly because Dwyane Wade said, I'm the jelly in their relationship, you're the peanut butter. And LeBron James said, no, I'm the jelly. Because the assumption is that the jelly is the more appetizing aspect of the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And Dwyane Wade very adroitly and very cunningly said to LeBron James, well, wait a minute, peanut butter is strong. Peanut butter never gets hurt. You can count on peanut butter. So what he did was he appealed to LeBron James's ego to show you once again that Dwyane Wade has a great psychological understanding of who LeBron James was. And as soon as he utilized that maneuver, he was able to appease LeBron, and LeBron automatically fell back and said, yeah, you're right, I'm the peanut butter.
I'm going to take a step back and hand this baton, and I'm going to be your sidekick. I'm going to be second fiddle to you. We can't win unless you are that dude. And that's what happened. And so for D-Wade to embrace him, not just as a teammate, but as a brother, and to invite him and bring him into a culture that was obviously established by Pat Riley and elevated by D-Wade, you just can't say enough about what he did for LeBron's career. LeBron is a champion because of D-Wade.
I think you can say this. Dwyane Wade single-handedly put LeBron James in the GOAT conversation.
I would agree with that.
Without Dwyane Wade, we would not be discussing LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. People
Delusionally so, but yes, that conversation would not exist without the assistance, the guidance, the mentorship of Dwyane Wade. I agree with that.
People wouldn't be entertaining the idea that LeBron James is one of the greatest of all time. I think you go a bit too far, but
well, that's not quite what the Michael Jordan conversation is about. The Michael Jordan conversation is about LeBron James being the greatest of all time, not one of the greatest. We already know that LeBron James is one of the greatest players to ever play.
Because there are things that LeBron James is on his own. He is the greatest player of a generation on his own. He is one of the most well-rounded, smartest basketball players we have seen in a generation. And I believe, Stephen A., he is a champion. He has deserved and earned that label on his own. Going back to Cleveland, doing what he did, essentially on his own with Kyrie. We know what Kyrie had to do with it. We know what Kevin...
Well, let's give Kyrie Irving a lot more credit than he just happened to be there. Kyrie was not there along for the ride. I would say that in their championship run in 2016, in that 7-game series against the Golden State Warriors, I would give LeBron probably about 60% credit. I give Kyrie the other 40. If we're just going to divvy it up amongst the players.
Kevin Love had to do with it. But doing that in Cleveland, he earned champion status on his own. But GOAT status, GOAT debate, in the same breath as Michael Jordan, this would not have happened but for Dwyane Wade. Dwyane Wade, as you said, not just stepped back, and you said this, he pushed LeBron forward after that Dallas Finals. He took him aside. He got in his ass and said, "No, man, it's time for you. You got to be the full guy you are."
Absolutely. D-Wade had to be a big brother / father figure to LeBron James because LeBron needed that prompting, that pushing.
And he gave him, as you said, 4 championships, 4 finals, 2 championships, and LeBron recognizes the role of Dwyane Wade. I just want to read you this, okay?
Sure, go ahead.
This is out there right now. Look, this isn't even controversial, I don't think, because LeBron knows this. He says, obviously, without D-Wade in my career, I wouldn't be sitting here with the resume that I have.
Well, that's another reason why you cannot quite compare him to Michael Jordan. Because, of course, Michael Jordan will always say, I probably would not be where I'm at in regards to my career success from a team perspective if it were not for Scottie Pippen. But Scottie Pippen was never the quote-unquote alpha. Now, D-Wade did act as the alpha, the psychological manipulator, the Svengali, the guru for LeBron James for at least, I would say, a season and a half. Maybe even going deep into the playoffs of 2012. Scottie never acted in that role for Michael Jordan. Not even a little bit.
He acknowledges that the things he could do individually, but getting these championships, putting these rings on his finger, it simply wouldn't be there without D-Wade. And without those championships, there'd be no GOAT discussion.
The only reason why I disagree with you somewhat is because you're acting as if LeBron had never been a champion. The only thing that would be absent from the conversation is GOAT status. I'm telling you, he would have been crucified mercilessly. And I've seen many, many occasions in the world of professional sports where that shrapnel of criticism so engulfs you that it makes you shrink.
It was very obvious that if LeBron James did not win a championship relatively soon, when we got into the 2010s, that he was going to have some type of nervous breakdown. There's very little doubt about that in my mind. As a matter of fact, he got so close in 2011 that he did not quite know what to do with himself once the moment was right there in front of him, once it was apparent. That's why he folded.
You can't overcome it. So when we talk about him in terms of the GOAT status, I'm saying the GOAT status would not have been the only thing eradicated from this conversation about LeBron.
That's possible.
It would have been
it's
championship.
Possible he may have never gone to Cleveland and gotten that championship on his own. It may have been that he would never have had the wherewithal, the intestinal.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Let me just say this. You know, I hear your point, and what you're saying is, without D-Wade, without that Miami experience, who LeBron James might have ended up being was somebody like Dan Marino or Jim Kelly.
Absolutely, more like Dan Marino.
A guy who could play, but never got the chance.
Okay, and what I'm saying to you is take what you just said into account.
Yeah.
How would we be talking about it?
No, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. No, I'm hearing you.
We wouldn't say anything. It would be, a matter of fact, he would be even more crucified because unlike the game of football where you got 10 other guys on the field with you and so many parts that have to work together.
And an offense and a defense and a special teams. In basketball, everybody plays on both sides.
And then you've got the opposite side, defensive side of the ball, where there's 11 different players. And then you got special teams. Oh, no, on a basketball court, if a championship escaped the greatness of LeBron James throughout his career, oh, my Lord, he would have been crucified.
No doubt, and that's how the public reaction would have been. I do believe this, okay? And I'm not one of these guys that Stephen A. Smith has like to point out, want to give LeBron James a manicure. I haven't been wanting to give him, throw roses at him on every step of the way, but I do.
Well, we know that the person that normally sits in that seat, he wants to give LeBron James a manicure, a pedicure, a massage, and maybe other things. Who the hell knows?
But I do believe he would not have shrunk from it. I do believe he would not have shrunk from being crucified. I think LeBron would have become a champion on his own, but he wouldn't establish GOAT.
Well, one could hope for that. I remember when I was a child and I used to collect comic books, Marvel Comics had a series called What If, which basically would play out in an alternate reality certain famous comic book stories, how they may have transpired if a certain character made a different decision here or there. I can say this about LeBron James. Had he not left Cleveland, I'm not quite sure if he ever would have won a championship. And that's why I always give him credit for taking his life into his own hands. You can't just sit back and hope for good things to happen for yourself. Sometimes you have to mobilize and make that move.
GOAT status.
I don't know about
Clearly, he's his big brother, his confidant, and he learned to be a champion there. Between him, Spoelstra, and Riley, That's where LeBron got that pedigree. We'll leave it there, guys.
But anyway, congratulations to LeBron James and D Wade and their friendship / confederacy / partnership or what have you. Hopefully for them, it will continue to be fruitful. So peace.